And finally, Jew rule. Now that the International Criminal Court has issued warrants to arrest Israel's top officials, the court has to answer these questions. What's their definition of a war criminal, and why it doesn't seem to include some of the worst offenders in the world? Why do they always single out the only liberal democracy in the Middle East? Why haven't they changed their name to the International Criminal Cabal? And they really must tell us if the prosecutor Karim Khan is a direct descendant of Genghis Khan. A few days ago, the ICC issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense chief Yoav Gallant. For what? Defending their country after 1,200 people were massacred by Hamas in the Jewish people's worst disaster since the Holocaust? Meanwhile, President Assad is running Syria like a slaughterhouse, gassing his own people with chlorine bombs. And the ICC hasn't even handed him a speeding ticket. Look, I'm not saying the ICC is perfect. Wait, yes I am. It is perfect. Perfectly useless. I mean, come on. We're talking about an organization that ignored Myanmar's military for years while they bombed villages and wiped out the Rohingya minority. And then there's Sudan's General Hemeti, who's been auditioning to be Africa's Hitler in Darfur. But sure, let's go after the one democracy in the Middle East that actually has a Supreme Court. And for that matter, a highly critical media that loves to make lots of noise and isn't locked up in a Turkish or Russian prison. Or feasting on insects and worms 6 feet under. And who's behind this brilliant move? ICC prosecutor Karim Khan. That's Karim with a K, as in kangaroo court. Khan's a British Muslim lawyer who has somehow decided that Israel's response to a terrorist attack is a bigger deal than actual genocides. Maybe he thinks that defending Israel is like, like defending pineapple on pizza. Technically legal, but still unforgivable. The ICC's selective outrage, however, isn't exactly shocking. This is the same international system where the UN Human Rights Council includes Venezuela and China, and where, earlier this year, the Conference of Disarmament was chaired by the Iranian ambassador to the UN, al-Bahraini. Really? The Conference of Disarmament? Iran? That's like putting Harvey Weinstein in charge of the Me Too movement. Oh, I forgot. They now identify as Me Too unless you are a Jew, and use the pronouns them, they, don't care. And these arrest warrants? They're not just hypocritical. They're just plain stupid. Issuing them against the leaders of the only democracy in the Middle East is like sending an eviction notice to a landlord in a war zone. Pointless, performative, and doomed to fail. A warrant for Yoav Gallant? How about arresting Syria's General Suhail al-Hassan? You know, the guy nicknamed the Tiger for his unique ability to napalm civilian neighborhoods. Oh, wait. He's probably busy hosting the ICC's annual barbecue in Gaza. The real problem here is that the ICC is about as consistent as Bernie Sanders' hair. It's like that one friend who says they're vegan but still eats steak. The ICC claims to be the world's moral compass, but lately it feels more like Waze on LSD. Constantly recalculating and still leading us nowhere. Here's a thought. If you want people to take international law seriously, maybe start by going after, I don't know, people who are actually committing genocide. Assad, Hemeti, Myanmar's military. These despots aren't just breaking international law. They're using it as kindling for their next mass funeral pyre. No, but instead, the ICC goes after Israel. Why? Because it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit. It's politically convenient. It's the international equivalent of a quarterback sneak pile-on, fueled by an anti-Semitic streak that's 1,000 times older than the UN itself, and as young as the TikTok-dazed Gen Z terror apologists that disseminate such news on social media. I mean, if Zach Sage Fox were to ask campus protesters what the ICC was, their answer would probably be ice cream cone. Or maybe their favorite new hit, I Cry Constantly. So now, thanks to these masterful arrest warrants, the ICC has not only undermined its credibility, it's actually given the world's worst war criminals a shot of serotonin. Relax. The ICC's busy with Israel. Why don't we book a retreat at Martha's graveyard? Nice work, guys. But hey, I get it. The UN and the ICC have always had a soft spot for Israel. And by soft spot, I mean the way you take a stick to the soft spot of a piñata. The ICC claims it's about justice. But this isn't justice. It's frickin' virtue signaling to mask their own corruption and bias. And the real victims? They aren't just Netanyahu, Gallant, and Israel. It's anyone who hoped the ICC could actually make a difference in places like Ukraine or Sudan. Congratulations, ICC. Not only have you thrown any credibility you had left out the window, but every dictator in the world is now laughing in your face. Let's face it, the only people taking the ICC seriously right now. All right, you got me. Nobody's taking the ICC seriously right now. But here's the thing. This isn't just a bad look for the ICC. It's a bad look for the entire concept of international law. And if the ICC keeps this up, it's not just its reputation that's on the line. It's its entire existence. That actually might be a good look. Because, let's face it, issuing these arrest warrants is much more than just a PR disaster. It might just be the final nail in the ICC's coffin. Rest in grief, ICC. We sure as heck aren't going to miss you.